Following Charlie Kirk's tragic murder, the heated rhetoric has reached some dangerous levels that need to be tempered with some understanding and restoring of our human connection. Joining us now is transformational coach and author of the book Your Love Does Matter, David Cunningham. David, welcome to Daily Flash.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you and everybody watching.
So, free speech seems to be a huge political talking point right now. What has brought it to a boiling point?
What's brought it to a boiling point is that we seemed as a society to have made the most important thing in our interactions with people who's right and who's wrong, and arguing that we're the right one and the other person's the wrong one. And we've lost sight of that none of us are right and none of us are wrong. We all have a view of life, a different view of life. No two people have the same view. And so that who's right and who's wrong is actually a silly argument. It's I've got my view, you've got your view. What is it? We can get interested in each other's views. And instead of having being right be the most important thing in our interactions, have our relationship, our relatedness be the most important thing.
I think that's a terrific point. I recently saw an interview with a celebrity, and the host was saying, "Well, why can't you have these conversations?" And he basically said, "Well, unless they agree with my facts, then I'm not going to have that conversation." Which, that's a perfect example of, well, then you think only your viewpoint is right, and you're not able to relate to another person. How do you address a conversation, or how do you react to a person who's that closed off?
Well, I really even that is a view, right?
Yeah.
So so the thing in a conversation is always to we think the most important thing is our talking. And oftentimes the more important thing or the more powerful thing is our listening, to listen to the other person and listen to what their view is. And there's a good question, which is why is that view so important to them? If we can hear what's important to the other person, and actually recognize that, acknowledge that, honor that, let them know that we care about what's important to them, and we listen, then they can listen to us.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. You're stressing the importance of listening in the conversation. And I also think another good question is, why is it so important that I agree with you?
Yeah.
And that to me, I think says a lot if somebody can answer that question. What about our love footprint, David? What is a love footprint?
Well, we've been paying attention, we've begun to pay attention as a society to our carbon footprint, which is extraordinary. I'm also asserting we have a love footprint. So that every time we leave an interaction, whether it's 60 seconds with a clerk in a store or whether it's 20 years of marriage, every time we leave an interaction, we can look back and go, what did I leave behind? Did I leave behind righteousness? Did I leave behind argument? Did I leave behind opinion and judgment? Or maybe I left behind simply indifference, or did I actually leave behind love? And if we pay attention to it, we can begin to get committed to, hey, when I walk away from any interaction, maybe lunch with my brothers and sisters, maybe a conversation with a colleague at work, for sure, I'm going to pay attention to that. What I leave behind when I leave that interaction is love.
How do you address
A
it?
love.
I'm sure you talk with couples about this, especially those who've been married for a number of years. When the conversation starts to go quiet, what is the best way to kind of change that dynamic?
Well, one thing for couples to get is that we don't get love from the other person. We often think we're supposed to get something from them, but we can't. If they love us and we're cranky, we don't experience love. We experience crankiness. If they respect us and we judge them, we don't experience respect. We experience being judgmental. So we actually don't get anything from the other person. Our quality of life comes from who we're being. When we're being loving, that's when we experience love. When we're being generous, that's when we experience generosity. So the point of another person in a relationship is not to get something, it's they give us the opportunity to be something. And the big lesson is that the more difficult they are, the bigger we get to be. A polite clerk in a store is an opportunity to be polite back, but a rude clerk's an opportunity to be really generous. So the more difficult another person is, the bigger we get to be. That's the secret of it, to pay attention to who we get to be, because that's where the quality of our life comes from. And that's the only thing we actually have a say about.
I think many times, and I think everyone's guilty of this, our reaction to a certain situation is based on our initial interaction with somebody, when really we should try, like you said, bringing our A game, regardless of what sort of interaction we have with that person.
Yeah, and again, it's what we decide or what we're having be important, and that's really a decision every time for us is what are we going to have matter here? And if what we're going to have matter is, our judgment about something or our opinion about something, it is probably a losing proposition right from the beginning. What there is to have matter is caring, love, compassion, in fact, grace. And when we start caring about that more than we care about who's right and who's wrong, we'll take a real step together as a society. So it's time for us to just literally say, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not going to pay attention to judgments and opinions. I'm not going to pay attention to who's right and who's wrong. I'm going to pay attention to whether people are uplifted, have the experience of being loved, empowered. That's what I'm going to pay attention to.
Great information, David. Thank you so much. For more information or to check out David's book, please visit yourlovedoesmatter.com and start the conversation.